Alrighty guys, I am really excited to show off some of the LFO functionality I've been working on here. So I've got a test setup going on, and on foot switch 1 I have got a global MIDI clock configured, MIDI clock A, set to around about 88 beats per minute, and we can stop that and we can start it by holding down. And then I've got two LFOs set up on foot switch 6 and foot switch 3, channel 6 and 3. So you can see I've got the LFO running there and the LFO running here, and the waveforms display in real time on the LEDs. Now let's take a look at what's going on here. So channels and on 3. So this LFO is set to sync to MIDI clock A at a quarter note. So we can set that to be free running, and then we can set the frequency, MIDI clock B. Right now we're on MIDI clock A. It's set to toggle, so the foot switch latches the behavior. We can set it to momentary, so it's like a press and hold functionality. Now I've got no min or max limit here, while they're sort of wide open, so it's oscillating between 0 to 127 for the value on a sine waveform, and it's modulating the active message stack. So whatever messages I have assigned to the active or toggle on stack for this channel, it's going to modulate all of those. Now I've just got one set up to show you this example, a CC message, but you can set, you can modulate that whole stack as well. So I've got it set up. This bit's pretty cool. So reset means that when I turn it off, it's going to reset the counter and start from the beginning of the waveform. You can also set it up so it, which is really handy for slower frequencies, so that it retains its position in the LFO waveform when you restart it. And I've got a step size of 32, which means this is going to be quite a staircased effect. There's only going to be 4 level increases for every cycle through of the from 0 to 127. So you've got quite a granular like sample and hold staircase type waveform going, which is really nice, especially when you're using some faster frequencies. So that's set to a quarter note of the MIDI clock. Now let's take a look at the LFO on foot switch 6. So again, this is on sync to MIDI clock A, but this time we'll go ahead and we've got it set to a dotted 8th subdivision. So this one's running a lot faster. It's kind of like got an asymmetric feel around the tempo. This time we've got a minimum limit set to 50 and a max limit set to 95. So it's only going to oscillate between those two values in a sine waveform. Again, oscillating the active messages, which I've got some CCs set up for. Then again, we're resetting on stop, and this time we've got a step value of 16, so a little more fine control on this LFO, but again, it's still got a bit of a granular staircase feel to it, which is pretty cool. So let's take a look. Turn it on, and you can see we've got our LED. The waveform is blinking exactly in time with the MIDI clock because it's set to quarter note division, which is more or less no division to the MIDI clock. Now, foot switch 6, however, is set to a dotted 8th, so it's going to be running kind of like an asymmetric feeling tempo, running a lot faster. Now, let me show you something cool. We have here an Ableton. Now I'm a bit of an Ableton rookie, so I've just got a really rough and ready demo set up. Sorry about some of the screen glare, but you can see it's running, and I've currently got, you can see in the corner there, I've got the external sync option enabled, so it's actually syncing to this tempo. So if I stop it, the start and stop commands control the playback there, which is really nice. But let's start it. And let's take a look at what's going on. Sorry, my phone's on a tripod. So I've just got a little drum loop sample that I found here, and that's oscillating between the full 0 to 127, and that is set up for my foot switch 6 LFO. So it's quite a lot slower. And then you can see here I've got this faster movement, and that is synced to the foot switch 3 LFO. It's just modulating between those limits that we set, and you get a really cool effect. So let me turn my computer volume on. So this is just some rough and ready loops. But watch when I turn this LFO. Turn this LFO off. You can see that bass line. I've got that. Let me just turn that down for a sec. So, I'm no longer oscillating that. You can see that I had that LFO set. If I start it, had that set to the low frequency cutoff filter for this little EQ. So that's where you get that little kind of wobbling bass line. Controlling the amount of low frequency. Now let's stop this slower LFO. Once it's set up, so I had that set up to the high frequency on this whole drum loop, so you can see it, and you get that that kind of choppy waveform sound in the high frequency of the drums. And that's with it off. Let's turn that down. In fact, I'll just stop it. Transport control here. That sends a stop command. And yeah, that's just a really simple, quick and easy example of some of the power of the LFOs. So I've got these two LFOs here set to a toggle on. And we can change the waveform. So if I go into to the menu, let's set this this LFO here on channel 3. I'm going to go and set the waveform. Rather than sine, we could go triangle or saw. The sawtooth waveform is really nice. I can actually hit the switch properly. Oh, that's right, sorry. I've got a breakpoint set my debugger here, so it's pausing the code. Let me disable that real quick. Yeah, there we go, and save. So you can see now we've got this more sawtooth waveform, and you can see some of the granularity in the steps. So for example, I'm gonna take this LFO 6 here, and I'm gonna unsync it to the MIDI clock. I'm just gonna set it to be free running so I can really slow that frequency down. Set it to free. Now I'm gonna put that right all the way down to, let's put it at 0.5 hertz. And yeah, we'll keep it on sine for now. That's fine. All right, but we've got that 32 step increment there. So I don't know how well it's going to come across on camera, but hopefully you can see that it's actually sort of got these granular steps in it, which is really cool. I don't think my phone camera's quite do it justice, but yeah, a ton of control in the LFOs. You can see a simple example just by modulating one LFO. You can send notes, CCs, pitch bends, whatever you want, and it's going to work really, really well.